it's Lee from coloringqueen.net, and I'm finally back to doing some more work on one of my whips, which is from Anna's beautiful book. It's a big Polish book, oversized. I've reviewed it before, and I've done a part one before where I was doing this tree branch. I did the grass off screen, so I thought today tackle some mushies and see how we go. So I've decided on red ones, and I'm all ready. I've got my coffee in my Easter Bunny mug, and I have been drinking from it, so I don't want to spill that one. I've been to the shop and got supplies. I did get the 2-pack of Snickers so that David could have one and I could have one, but hey, he's at work and I'm feeling like it might be an emergency. Oh, and we have Milly joining us today. If you're new to the channel, Milly likes to often take part in videos by basically sitting on the book so I can colour it around her. Milly is a Himalayan cat. She's got blue eyes, Siamese Persian, which is what Himalayan is. And she's a rescue that we got as my birthday present last year. But she's also part of the family and stopping me from colouring these mushrooms. Come on, Mill. Mummy just ordered your birthday present this morning. Oh, God. Okay, so another episode of colouring around the cat, and we'll put her there. So I hope everyone is well today. Oh, I've got some exciting news. I finally got my new phone. So it's a new iPhone. I've been filming off this one. I don't know whether you can tell, but the screen is all cracked and broken, and it's been a joy. So I'm super excited to get that, and I'm just waiting for my new tripod. So let's get started. So I thought I'd do the mushrooms in like a red or an orange. I really wasn't sure about the mushies and what colour they should be, but decided to go with red. And so we'll see how that goes. Now, because I don't have my new tripod yet, which is meant to be a bit better than my current arrangement, I have to sit quite away from the desk, so it's often a little bit difficult for me to colour as I would off screen, because I have to reach over a little bit. And if you hear any creaking and whatnot, that's my chair, unfortunately. It's got a bolt loose on it, and we did put the bolt aside, but we can't remember where we put it. So every time I move, I don't have tubbing problems. I have a screw loose on my chair, and maybe I've got a screw loose elsewhere, who knows. I feel like I'm going a bit cray-cray, even though I'm used to being isolated. But I do feel lately that I've been pushed beyond my limits with real life, but that's why colouring is so good. You get to escape and you know, go into another place. So I hope everybody is well and happy, and more importantly, healthy. Finding it weird to colour today for some reason. So today it's 10 o'clock odd, 10:10, and I've got up this morning and went for a walk up the road, basically because I really wanted chocolate, and we're not stopped, and I really felt like I knew that once, you know, lunchtime came, I probably were going to want a chocolate hit. And we've got nothing, so I walked up there and quickly got some chocolate so that I would have it. I really don't think I will be sharing now. Don't tell David, but I think I'll be gobbling this one up myself. I feel like it's a day that I need the whole Snickers bar and not to share Because usually we share desserts and we share chocolate bars and stuff like that, but no, not today. Not today. So I hope your weekend was good and that that everybody is, you know, trying to do their best to relax and take it easy and obviously take good care of themselves. David is still at work and he'll be working through until they can close down the construction industry in Australia, if that happens, because if they do, it would, you know, be millions of people out of work. So tiny bit anxious about what is happening, but you know, everyone is, you know, in the same position, so just gotta, you know, plough through. One of the lovely things that I seen yesterday, I took Charlie for a walk, and the kids, the street down, they'd got the chalk out on the footpaths and they'd written the most beautiful messages like we're all in this together and love is beautiful, and, you know, beautiful little hearts and flowers and whatnot. It was just so adorable, very, very cute, and I should have had my phone with me so I could take the photo, but actually with the new iPhone 11, my old phone is an iPhone 7, so it's been quite a while since I've had an upgrade there. I don't know why I'm doing these long strokes today. Why don't I just go back to circles? But I'm not actually even sure how to drive my new phone. Every time I press something, I seem to bring up my contacts list and randomly dial people. So I'll have to sit down with it and actually learn how to drive it, because it is a little bit different from my old phone, but especially because it works. Ever since we moved here a year and a half ago, my iPhone doesn't ring and it doesn't display messages instantly. And I thought it was my carrier, which is Telstra in Australia, because other people with Telstra phones in this area, they're always hanging out in the front garden trying to get reception as well. So I thought it was pretty well them, and so I've been wanting to change to the other provider because David is with them and his phone actually rings and whatnot, whereas mine, I have to go out in the garden to make a phone call, with it until I just upgraded. And then you get outside and it never rang at all, and you just had to watch the screen to see if someone was calling you. So not really ideal. So I've been wanting to change for a long, long time. And then if you're new here, you might not realise, but we've had terrible internet for a few months, and it was just so intermittent. I couldn't upload videos and I had to sort of wait for right times in order to get anything uploaded, and it was just really ridiculous. So that was the point for me where I decided that bye-bye Telstra. It's, you know, been great, but I need, something a bit more reliable. So I switched over to Optus the other day, and it's the first time I've heard my phone ring since we've lived here. So a year and a half, I've never heard my phone ring. And it rang the other day. Oh my God, it scared the hell out of me. I didn't know what it was because I'd never heard my phone ring in this house. So pretty funny. Yeah, so I'm super pleased about the new phone and glad that it was delivered, and it was actually in stock. And it was actually the colour that I wanted. I wanted purple and I got purple, so pretty good, and it actually works out cheaper than my previous one. And it actually works, you know, so I can get messages and I can send messages and I can hear it actually ring. So there's simple things in life. Plus, looking through that cracked screen, trying to read messages or Facebook notifications, especially when the internet wasn't working, that was just too much hard work. But yeah, so it was the right time to change. And so on the weekend up here we had the council elections. So if you're from across the pond, the way it works in Australia is that you have the federal government, so you have a federal election because we're a federalism here, and then we have states, and each state has elections for senators, and then we have at grassroots level local governments for particular areas or regions within each state. And so on the weekend we had the local government elections, and voting in Australia is compulsory, so you have to vote, not like it is in the US where you have the option not to. Hey, I watch all of Veep, so I know all about US elections. I love that show. I love Veep. But so yeah, we had the local elections, and obviously I didn't want to go out because I have asthma and I also have chronic bronchitis, and I really did not want to go and vote, and I was at the stage where I was going to just pay the fine, but I've never not voted. Like, I am such a goody-goody, like I am, you know, the most goody-goody person that, you know, you'll ever meet type thing, or not me. And, you know, the thought of not voting and paying a fine was just, you know, abhorrent to me. I couldn't take it because I'm such a goody-goody. And, and so I was going to try and postal vote, but it had already closed, so I couldn't postal vote. And then I tried to phone vote, and it took me 3 days. I was on the phone trying to get through, but the line was constantly engaged. And you would think in 2020 that they would have online voting, but, you know, the government's not good at building websites, sorry, and, you know, they don't. So then my other choice was pre-poll voting, because I couldn't get through on the phone line, where you basically go to designated spots and you can vote before the actual election so that you're not lined up with the masses in order to vote. And so I tried to go to the pre-poll place, and I can't go, you know, at any time, and I have to wait for David to come home because none of them are walking distance. Oh, I need some of that coffee. Yeah, so none of them are walking distance, so when David came home, you know, every night we'd sort of go up to the pre-poll place, but the queues were really, really long, and it didn't look like it would be the environment that I wanted to put myself into at the moment. So we decided that the night before the election on the Friday night, I just decided that I just wouldn't vote, and I would cop the fine and, you know, pay it and all the rest of it. So the day of the election came and David went up to vote because we can't afford to pay 2 fines, and I would dispute any fine issued as well, by the way, so just in case anyone suggests that, I dispute everything. But that's just my personality. No, don't call me Karen. But I would dispute it on the grounds of the current safety standards and health and safety warnings in the state that I live in. But anyway, David went up to vote and he said, there's no one up there. our local voting place is actually just a school that's about 2 blocks, or not even 2 blocks away from us, and there was literally no one there because I think everyone had either postal voted or pre-polled or something, because there was hardly anyone there. And so I thought, oh, okay, I'll quickly risk it and I'll race up and vote. And when I went to vote, there was just the people manning the voting process and 2 other people voting, and everyone was separated out of their cardboard booths so no one was near anyone, and they had lots of sanitizer. So I quickly just voted and thought this was way easier than lining up at the pre-poll places, and no lines, nothing. But it's just so different, because usually in Australia, when we have voting, we usually have a barbecue, and there's a sausage sizzle and cake stalls and lots of people handing out pamphlets and things like that. And now it's just no one, which makes it far more enjoyable, because you don't have everyone thrusting pieces of paper into your hand and trying to sell you on who you should vote for, and you know, the lines up to get a sausage, because as soon as you smell them cooking, you go, oh yes, maybe I could do with a sausage. So just so different from normal, or what we're used to. I'm finding it very difficult on this angle at the moment, so I'm going to have to take you for a merry-go-round ride. Yeah, I'm finding it very difficult to colour this morning, so I'm not sure what the reason for that is. Maybe I've forgotten. Actually, I might just pause you for a minute so I can fix up that red. I don't like it. I'm back. I had to change that red. It was annoying me. I didn't feel like I'd taken it down far enough. I feel really off today. I don't feel like I feel like I've forgotten what I'm doing. So it's probably because I've rested this book for 6 weeks now because of my internet problems. I haven't been able to return to filming a lot of things and feel like I'm a bit out, and so yeah, just sort of don't feel on top of things, I guess is what I'm saying. And then by the time we got the internet back and whatnot, I had such, and I still have, I've got like 200 emails that I've still got to deal with, you know, whether reply, delete, you know, file, things like that, that I haven't got through, because I try and do a little bit each day, but if I do them all at once, I just find that the whole day is gone. And I've also got a lot of messages and whatnot, because the internet has been just so intermittent that I've just got behind on everything. And the worst of the thing is, although I changed my phone carrier, the internet is still with Telstra, because when we went around all the reviews, etc., we couldn't really change it because one thing, David likes Foxtel, which is part of the package that we get, and it worked out more expensive if we got it elsewhere. Funnily enough, he likes it for the sport, which of course there is no sport now that he is interested in watching. So, and the other thing is that in this area, the other carriers that distribute internet service here, and none of them had any good reviews, so we basically had to stick with the devil that we know as far as internet goes. But at least I've got a phone now that's reliable and I can call out on and is not with the same carrier, so at least that's something, I guess. And hearing that ring is just amazing. I was so scared. I heard it ring and I nearly jumped out of my chair. I was on the computer and gosh, it frightened me because I hadn't heard it ring ever since we've been here, so it was funny. And then all these noises every now and again around the house, and I'm like, what's that noise? And Dad was like, it's your phone. And I'm like, oh, it's never made a noise. It's just sat there mute. Well, you know, the old one. It's making no noise at all now. It's I've turned it off. I always felt like I was going to cut my finger on all the broken bits on it, and so I had to put a bit of plastic on there so that I wouldn't feel like I was about to scratch my finger every time I touched it, because the whole screen was broken. I'm just going to put some of this yellow through here. It still hasn't flattened the tooth entirely on Mr. Mushy, but that's okay. About time to come back and do a bit more. I'm back. The phone rang and scared me, and then of course, you know, this happened. Sorry, David. So might do that mushroom stem now, I guess. The other thing I've got to do today is I've got to go through what stuffed toys I have, what plushies I think you call them, and try and find a little teddy bear or something to put in the window, because a lot of the little kids that walk by, because we've got a school not far from us, and sometimes you may hear in these videos the school bell ring. I try and time it around the school time so that I usually film before school starts, but I've been a bit slack lately, I guess we'll call it that. But they've got these songs that they do in between breaks and stuff. It's I like to move it. So I always know what time it is because the I like to move it song comes on. But yeah, so the little kids have something nice on their walks. A lot of people walk their dogs around here. I walk Charlie. So that they can see the little teddy bear in the window. I think a lot of people are doing it. I think the craze might have started overseas. But I'm in a local group. There's an app which is called, I think it's called Nextdoor or something like that. And it's a way of neighbours connecting without physically connecting in these difficult times, and you sign up for it and you get notifications. So like people might be wanting some assistance because they don't have anyone that can go to the shops for them, or they might need some sort of particular items that they haven't been able to get from the shops, or they might want to do something and get the community engaged in a distanced way. So the teddy bear thing came around the other night, and I know that people have been doing that overseas. So I thought I'd like to join in on that. There's a lot of little kids around here. You know, make this less distressing for them, you know. It would be good, and I like seeing teddy bears too. Hey, I've got them, so I like them. I wish I had I've got in storage when I went to Disneyland like 20 odd years ago. I got a Cheshire cat from Alice in Wonderland, and I wish I had that here, but I don't, because that'd be funny in the window, and then Milly sometimes gets in the window as well, so that would be kind of funny. But I don't have the Cheshire cat, so I think it's going to be like either a ladybug or a bunny rabbit or something like that. And so I've got to dig that out and find a good place to put it on the window. So hopefully I'll find something quick enough. I don't want to spend too long doing it because I have got so much to do today. It's not funny. Seriously, I don't have time for a job. I've got so much to do in my day-to-day life. And even though I said I wasn't going out, I seem to have made a couple of allowances. I did go out for a walk and to the shops this morning. And I think I need to do the walk because it just gives me a bit of, I don't know how to say it, but I feel very cooped up, even though I have been cooped up here for a year. Now that I'm told that I can't go out, I feel rebellious and feel like I really, really want to go out. So I'm not going anywhere that's not allowed. I'm just going for the walk that is allowed, and I try and avoid all people. Although my neighbours introduce themselves that live sort of diagonal to us, they introduced themselves and their new little puppy to me the other day. They were getting quite close to me, and I was getting a bit freaked out by how close they were moving to the fence, to be honest. Particularly when he said he was off work because he was sick, and I was like, go away. But, you know, the little kids wanted me to pat that puppy, and I had Charlie with me, and trying to have good manners, but also to say, hey, you might not be bothered by this, but I really am. So I hope I was far enough away from them. So I went for the walk that day, and then today when I went for my walk, I changed it up so I don't have to go past, because that's put me in too much human contact for my liking for the day. It's far too peoply out there for me. So today I went for the walk, and as part of the walk I went to the shop and got some milk and got that chocolate that I've now gobbled up because, yeah, poor David, he missed out on that, but, you know, I'm sure he's probably scoffing chocolates at work as well. But, yes, and then last night we needed to take some things back to the hardware shop so that we could buy some other things instead. So we had to return them and exchange them. And because it was on my bank card, not David's, I had to really go there and press the buttons and stuff like that. And while I was there, I did buy some plants. If you know me, you know I'm a bit obsessed with plants at the moment. So I just bought some little seedlings. I bought some more tomatoes because I've got tons of cherry tomatoes but no bigger tomatoes, and I thought, well, these cherry ones are going so well, I'll give the big ones a crack. And I bought some more eggplant. I've got eggplant growing, but I feel like I could do with some more. And I bought some more corn. We had it last year when I started gardening, and it was beautiful, so I bought some more of that. And I bought some silver beet as well. So other than the eggplant, I think most of those things can be made into freezable type items. I'm not sure if you can freeze eggplant. I better Google that. But anyway, most of the other things can be made into things. And the eggplant I'll probably just grill and eat fresh, or put it into a moussaka or something like that. So I did buy 5 little containers of seeds of plants. They're already sprouted. And then I got out of there fast. Well, I was also trying to find some methylated spirits, but you could not get that for love or money. And I wanted that because I want to make this wool mix that my stepfather used to make to wash the pet bedding in. So Charlie and Milly, they have a lot of blankets and they've got little beds and stuff like that. And so this homemade wool mix is kind of just like soap, metho and eucalyptus oil. And so I've got all the other ingredients, but I do have metho, but I don't have enough because David uses it for other things as well, so hopefully I'll be able to get some of that at the shop, but the shelves were stripped bare of that. And the other thing I go through quite a lot of is disinfectant wipes, because Milly, as you see, she walks all over my desk here, and she's got her little cardboard cubby house on the end that she's gone back to have a nap in, but she leaves her dirty little paw prints all over the place. So I wipe it down quite regularly with disinfectant wipes, and that's basically because I've, first of all, who knows where her little paws have been. I mean, she's beautiful, but those little feet get around, and Mummy only washes the floor once a week. And also, I read somewhere that if you wipe down regularly with disinfectant and you're asthmatic, it helps you. So I've been doing that for, a good year now. So I wipe down quite a lot, all surfaces, keyboards, mouse, everything, and especially anything that Milly has walked on. So, and I wipe all the light switches, etc. every day. So because I've been having a bit of trouble getting those items, I bought a roll of Chucks, so they're like a cleaning wipe, a thin cleaning wipe, and there's about 50 sheets or something in the roll. So I'm going to separate those out, put them all into a container and put disinfectant over them, which I've got, and kind of make my own cleaning wipes until I can, either get more cleaning wipes in store or whatnot. But at the moment, that'll do. And, they might work out really well and I might not want to go back. You never know. So I don't know if I made the right call doing that mushroom red. I guess we'll know more as the picture progresses, so if it was a good call or not. I'd like to continue the colour theme along here, but sort of change it up a bit. And then the other thing I've got to do today is I've got to, actually, I should get David to get me a new pencil. Look at this. I do have a pencil extender. I'll have to find it. It's getting very, very small. I know I can go smaller if I just put the pencil extender on it. But anyway. I've got to order Milly's birthday present. So Milly's birthday, we don't know what her actual birthday is. They said at the rescue place that she looked about 4 when we got her, so I'm thinking that she's going to be 5 this year. And we got her on April 10th, which is the day before my birthday, because she was my birthday present. And so because we don't know the actual day of her birthday, we just thought we'd roll with April the 10th. And I know for some of you guys you'll be thinking, oh my god, do you celebrate your pet's birthday? And the answer is yes. We don't have kids, hey. And we always have, when we had Charlie's mum and dad, for their birthday, what happens is that they all get a present so that no one feels left out. And it's not big presents, just little things. And then they get to have a teaspoonful of ice cream and barbecue chicken, and not too much of either of them, but it's kind of like a little treat, or a teaspoon of yogurt, depending on what we've got and all the rest of it. So yeah, so Milly, I didn't know what to get her, and I don't want to go out to the shops unless I really can't get away with it. So I was looking online, and I was going to get her this like little ottoman thing that she can sit in, but she's kind of got something similar here in the colouring cave, and she never plays in it. she did when we first got her, because that was kind of like the only toy that I had for her, or the only, play centre. But she doesn't like to play in it anymore, and she basically uses it as a jumping castle to get to the desk easy. So when you see her jump up onto the colouring page, she's actually jumping on that little cat play centre and then jumping from that to the desk. So I think I'm not going to get her that now, because I just don't see her playing with it, and I don't want to have like items that can't be used or whatnot, and Charlie won't play with it either. So then the other thing I thought I might get her, because she wants to go outside so much lately, and I have let her on the balcony with the lead. And again, thank you so much to all of you that have far more cat experience than me, and kindly offered me so many suggestions about Milly and allowing her to go outside supervised. Thank you so much. So what I'm going to do is, when I let her outside on the weekend to have coffee with me on the balcony, and she was on a lead, she really wanted to explore further, and she was trying to get her big man hand paws. She's got giant paws, that cat. She was trying to use her man hand paws to get the collar off so she could roam free, the little monkey. And I'm not having that, because who knows why she was a rescue in the first place. She might have given her previous owners a slip. So what I thought I would do is get her a little harness, because she obviously won't be able to get that off as easy as she can with a collar. And it's got like little wings on it, so it looks like a little angel wing, or maybe little fairy wings. So I thought I'd get her that from Cameo, and it's only cheap, it's like $6, but she'd like that. And I get her a longer retractable lead so that she can explore a little bit further but still be safe. And then I can't help myself, but I thought I'd get her a little cardboard box, because I got her a cardboard box from Kmart when I first got her, and it's like a little cubby house scratching pad thing, and it was $6 or $5 or something like that. Very, very, very cheap. And so like 6 Australian dollars is like pennies on a US dollar basis or a UK pound base, so very, very cheap. But she loves this cardboard box, and she sits in it all the day. So when I say she's in her cubby house, when people ask about it, that's where she is. She's in the cardboard box. And so now they've got another cardboard box, and it looks like an ice cream truck, and it's all pink. And instead of having a front entrance, it has a top entrance, so she can jump in it from the top and look like she's driving the ice cream truck. So I seen that, and I thought, yeah, I'll get her that, because she will love to play in the cardboard box for a while, and I can move it around and she can play in it and whatnot. So I'll get her the ice cream truck and the lead and the harness. And so then I've got to get Charlie something. So he loves little toys, so they've got a couple of stuffed toys that I can get him, and he hasn't had a little stuffed toy treat for a while, so I'll get him a couple of little stuffed toys, and then they've both got something. But I have to order it today if it's got a hope of getting here for her birthday, because obviously she'll know, and she'll, be cranky at me if she doesn't get her gift on time. And Charlie will be, waiting for this one time or twice a year occasion where he gets a little spoonful of ice cream. Actually, in fact, David sometimes gives him a spoonful of ice cream. David's the one that gives out the good treats, and I'm the bad cop in the relationship. But only because I'm going off what the vet said, and the vet said not to. But there's always one good and one bad cop, I guess. So I'll get that organised today. And then I finally got my tartric acid to make my cordial with. If you missed a previous video when I talked about this, I used to make cordial when I was a kid, and it was in one of my mother's recipe books, and for years I've tried to find that recipe, which of course is absolutely ridiculous because I finally Googled it last week or the week before or whatever, and it was one of the first search results on how to make this homemade cordial. So it's been out there all along, this information. Meanwhile, I've been looking at Fates and thrift shops for this recipe book, which is just ridiculous for someone that uses the internet as much as I do, that I never Googled it beforehand. But anyway, so I thought I'd make my own orange and lemon cordial, but one of the ingredients is tartric acid, which I've never had a problem purchasing before. It kind of gives things a sour note, and it's used a lot in winemaking, and it's completely different from citric acid. It's probably most common or most closest relationship is to cream of tartar, but that is again not the same thing. So anyway, I was having a real difficulty buying that, so I finally ordered it. You couldn't get it in any stores, and I finally realised why. Is because most of it's made in Italy, and obviously because of the terrible circumstances in Italy at the moment, a lot of shipments probably aren't getting through to other countries, or they're not shipping as much or at all maybe. So I finally got some on eBay of all places. So, and it turned up yesterday. So now I have all the things to make my cordial, except I bought all these oranges especially to make it, and David took one to work, so I hope he saved me the skin so he brings that home, because I need the rind to make the cordial, to infuse the flavour, and then I'm going to bottle that up. So hopefully he either brings me home a new orange or he brings me home the skin, which that would be pretty funny. And then what else am I doing? Because my new phone's here and I'm clumsy, I've got to get a new phone cover for it. So again, I'm getting everything that I can online, and we're not talking huge amounts of money here, you know, they're just little bits of money, but it all adds up, and I'm trying to be careful because, like most people, we don't know, you know, what's happening. But I broke my other phone, so I guess, you know, I guess I have form as a klutz, so I'm getting a cover for it off eBay, and it's just like $10, and I can put the phone in it and have a little space to put my house keys, and then I can, you know, just walk Charlie with my little bag and not have to carry too much stuff when we go for our little walk. Never actually see anyone, like no one's actually in my path when I walk, because we've got very wide nature strips around here, and I only go a couple of blocks because Charlie must be 15 this year, and he's a little bit blind, and he's a little bit deaf, and he's got a little bit of arthritis. So he doesn't want a huge walk, and he's only a Maltese Terrier, so, you know, he likes his walks on the couch, really. So he doesn't want a huge little walk. He just wants to go out and sniff a few things and, you know, see what's out in the big world, just like his mum, really, you know. So I don't know what it is with me with these inactive pets and that like sitting on the couch. I guess they're like their mums. And they're both fluffy, so I guess maybe I need a haircut. I was thinking that I would give myself a haircut, and I haven't done this since I was like in school, and basically I put my hair up in a ponytail and cut the ponytail off, and very crookedly cut my fringe, or bangs as some people call them. But I don't know if I'm brave enough to do that, and I've had it up in a ponytail for like a good 2 months now, which is always a sign for me that it's way too long and needs to be cut. But I think I'll just leave it and just let it grow at this point in time, because I don't think I'm good enough to risk cutting the back of it. And David doesn't have hair, he's got a shaved head, so you know, I don't trust his hairdressing skills on that either. And yeah, I don't think it's worthwhile going out to the hairdressers just to get a trim, basically. So I'll just leave it, and I'll at least keep tying it up into a ponytail or a bun or something like that. You know, there's far worse problems to have than worrying about your hair growing. The fringes, my fringe or bangs or whatever you would like to call them, that's grown so long that it's no longer fringe now, and I can just tie that back with the rest of it. So I am going to dye it though, because I have got so many fairy sparkles in it at the moment. It's like a fairy tipped over a pile of grey fairy dust onto it, and I'm not loving that. So I know I could just, you know, leave it be, but I guess we've all got to have our little moments, and I never wear makeup or anything, but I don't like the fairy dust in my hair, so that's got to go. Luckily, I had some hair dye in the cupboard for when it went on specials a few months ago. So usually when things are on special that I buy regularly, if I've got the money in my shopping budget, everything has a budget with me. I'm a little budget mad. Colouring books have a budget. Everything's got to have a budget, because otherwise I will just blow it, and then I'll have, you know, not enough to, you know, pay for essentials and bills and stuff like that. So it's my way of being good. But when it goes on special, I usually buy a couple, and I've used one and I bought 3, so I've still got 2 left. So no reason to have the sparkles in the hair. Does anyone else dye their hair, or is it just me? I'm sure other people must, because everyone's always buying it. But if you're in lockdown or isolation, or you're self-quarantining, are you still dyeing your hair and things like that? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to know how we're all coping with this and how we're all getting done day by day. Well, that's what I was going to tell you, that Neighbour app. That's how and I can't remember the name of it now, but if I do, I'll write it in the comments below when I can get off camera and check my apps. But they organised a whole clapping for the hospital staff in one of the hospitals near me, and they're doing it every Sunday. They come out onto their balconies or front doors or driveways, and at 7 o'clock every Sunday, while everything is in turmoil, they're coming out, all the people that live opposite the hospital or within sight of the hospital's balconies, they're coming out to clap the staff and show their support. So it's just lovely the way they organised that through the app, and how everyone came together, and I just love it. And I don't know what's wrong with me, but I felt so emotional about it. I don't even live close by enough to clap and be seen and heard by them, but it certainly brought a tear to my eye, and I was just, there's been so much negativity that whenever I hear something that's positive and beautiful and heartwarming and helping other people and just being kind, being human, just, you know, be a decent person, it just makes me tear up. I'm doing it now, stop it. But I hope I hear more stories like that, because, you know, that's what it's all about, is to, you know, really be kind. You know, these sorts of things really bring out who we are as a person, and I think a lot of people will be looking back and maybe not liking so much some of their behaviour and who they are as a person, and hoping to change that. I hope so, you know, because I truly believe that, you know, most people are good, and I know it's kind of a bit naive, especially for a cynic like me, but I do believe that most people are good and have good intentions, and sometimes they, you know, get overcome by fear or their own struggles or tragedies and can't show that. And some people are just downright evil, but that's more a conversation for another day. Speaking of downright evil and weird things, I started watching that, what's it called? Tiger King or Tigerland? That documentary series about Exotic Joe and Carol and some other guy. I think it's on Netflix or one of them that we've got on the paid-for TV subscription thing. Oh my God, it's just so weird. I watched the first 2 episodes, and I struggled to believe that it was actually real, but it is. And so if you haven't seen it, it's about 2 zookeepers basically for tigers, and one woman that is trying to save tigers. But talk about murder, intrigue, sex, drugs and rock and roll. I mean, their life is just really bizarre, and there's 3 different sort of cultural perspectives of it. You know, you've got the sort of small town guy, and then you've got the more lavish zookeeper, and then you've got the woman trying to save the tigers, and she comes with a whole host of different intrigues. Everyone's got their own personal story and agenda, and then there's murder, intrigue, and sex, drugs and rock and roll. I don't think you could even think of these things, or maybe you can. I don't know. It makes a change from my obsession with Criminal Minds, though, I guess. So I've watched a couple of episodes of that. And it wasn't scary, it was just weird. But I will watch more of it, because I'm kind of intrigued now about where this documentary ends and how much crazier it can become. And I guess in Australia we haven't heard so much about these people, so it might be just nothing in the US, but it's all different for us in Australia, and I don't think we'd see the same sort of documentary series being made about, you know, Australia Zoo, for example. So I'm intrigued now, but I don't know how well people like it in America, or if they think it's a pretty mundane story, or what they think of it. But I find it fascinating, and I do want to see the end of it. I do want to see where it goes, but I'm kind of glad I don't know any of these people. Couldn't imagine having them over to share a coffee and my Snickers bar with me. any of them. But we'll see how that goes when we watch some more seasons. So we'll probably do that on the weekend. Because David is often so tired when he comes home from work, because he leaves so early in the morning and gets up so early that if I put something on after dinner, I look over at him and within 5 minutes he's sound asleep, poor little thing. So I guess we'll probably do that on the weekend when he's able to fully enjoy watching it. It was his idea to watch it, and he fell asleep after the second episode, so we didn't watch any more of it. But over the weekend we'll go back to it. He's a bit lost at the moment because it's usually football season and he was gearing up for that, but they've cancelled the football, and so now he's a bit lost on what he's meant to be doing on the weekend. I've got plenty of jobs for him to do. I keep telling him that. But I guess sometimes he does want to relax. So if you're at home now, I'd love to know what you guys have been doing. I've just been going for the walks and, you know, other than things that I had to get or had to be there for, I haven't gone anywhere else. And as far as amusing myself at home, I always seem to have a list of 5 million things to do but never get through them all. And I do keep adding to them all the time. But I'd love to hear what you're doing at home, if you're diamond painting, or if you're gardening, or if you're exercising, or if you're doing a big binge TV show, watching marathon, or if you're reading, or I'd love to hear, you know, how you're spending your time. And that goes for, you know, always, whether it's in the times that we can now refer to as normal life and in our current situations, wherever you may be in the world. For me, not a lot has changed at all, except I've just increased my cleaning routine. So I'm still, you know, cooking, cleaning, colouring and gardening, and every now and again either doing a bit of renovating around here or something like that. But not a lot has changed for me at all. And as per usual, I'm always running late and behind schedule on everything. And I don't know if it's because I'm slow or because I over commit to things or whatever, but I've got so much stuff to do. And I've got so many emails and messages to reply to, so if you have emailed or messaged me, it's not you, it's I'm trying to work down the amount of messages, etc., that I have to either reply to, delete, file, or action in some sort of way, and trying to go through that list and not allow it to take over my entire life so that I can still get other things done. So it's just too much sometimes. I get so many messages sometimes, and then sometimes none at all. But with the bad internet, they have built up because I haven't been able to reply to as many as I would like at a time. But new phone, new carrier, new internet plan, so hopefully it's all sorted. We put new cables in for the internet because we thought in the end that was the reason why we weren't getting as good internet as we could. So hopefully all of those things will work out well for us. If I've got time today, I'm going to make a slice for David. I've got to have a look and see what I've got in the cupboard. The other day I was going to make something and I didn't have one of the ingredients and I didn't know what to change it to, so he ended up not getting anything. But seeing I just ate the half of his Snickers bar that I should have shared with him, I better make him something that he can take as a sweet treat for work. And I don't know if I told you guys, but I bought a bread maker weeks and weeks ago and I couldn't get flour in the shops. So I ordered it online, and would you believe I still haven't got my flour delivery? So I still cannot make bread. And the really funny thing is that David's brother in Sydney that lives with his mum has now been advised that she can't have salt. So David's younger brother bought a bread maker and is making salt-free bread, and he's getting flour in Sydney, and I'm still waiting, weeks, and he's already got a bread maker, got bread, got flour, and is baking the bread, and I'm the one that said we were going to do it weeks ago, and I still haven't even got my first loaf of bread out. It's really annoying, but he said it was super easy to do, and he made some great looking bread in it, and he seems to be enjoying, taking care of his mum and, making sure that her dietary requirements are being met, which is fantastic because with us being in a different state, especially now, it's good to know that he's there and that she's being, well cared for, because that's super important. The other thing I was going to share with you guys, in case it might be of interest to somebody in the colouring community, it would do this one as well maybe, is a friend had a good idea the other day on Facebook for people in communities that might not have that app that I was telling you about, where they gave elderly people or people that were vulnerable in their community, they left them some different coloured pieces of paper. So green, red and yellow, I think, were the colours. And they said, put the colour in the window so that everyone in the neighbourhood could use that as a guide. So green meant that they were okay. Yellow meant that they needed someone to either get them food or medication or run an errand for them or something like that. I think I've got this right. And the red meant that they were feeling unwell and they needed help of some sort. So I'm not exactly sure that I've got that whole colour coding and what they mean right. So I don't have the Facebook post in front of me. But I thought it was a useful idea that people could use so that people that are a little bit vulnerable in our neighbourhoods, if you wanted to connect with them and help them, and so that they could put that in their window and other people might be able to assist them if that was required. So I thought it was a nice idea. People are making a lot of nice ideas, I think, at the moment, which is great. Oh, and the other thing I was going to tell you was, how I've got all these whips, which this is one of. I actually finished that one in Botanicum the other night, last night I think it was, and actually got that off my whippet list. And so now I'm concentrating on finishing this one from Anna and the Colouring Heaven magazine whip. And then I might have whipped it good. And then it's just a matter of doing Queens of Poland and Grazia. So I might be getting there. Might be starting to whip this good. Even for me, this is too many whips, and when I started the other one in Botanicum, I started it and I still had other whips to do, and I still started one more. So talk about a glutton. But now I just feel like they're building up everywhere, and I'd really like to see the pictures when they're finished. So I have to get it finished. It's the new rule. More than 3 whips is bad. Maybe I should make that more than 2 whips. More than 2 whips is not going to happen. It's bad. What is going to happen though is I'm going to have a colour along. Now, I've never had a colour along ever. 2016 I've been here and never ever had a colour along. And actually I've never been invited to a colour along at all in 4 years on YouTube. So I thought, because it's my birthday coming up, and you know, the birthdays this year, they're not going to be anything at all, just because of the way life is. And I thought, you know, the only thing that would, you know, really be lovely is to see lots of lovely little bunny pictures and lots of beautiful colourings. So I think I'll have a bunny colour along, and I've been having that as an event in my colouring group on Facebook, but I thought I'd put it mainstream as well so that I can see so many bunnies, because I like bunnies. Everyone knows that. I love me a bit of bunny. Bunny, 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 bunny. And in case you're wondering, I don't have a bunny rabbit because they're illegal in this state. But if they were legal, I would have a lot of bunnies. Actually, David stunned me the other day. He said to me, do you want to get some chickens? Because I've said to him before that I'd like some chickens, because I spent my early childhood on a farm and we had chickens. And I had a lot of fond memories of them. And my grandfather, every year at Easter, because it was my birthday as well, he'd give me some real live little chickens, baby chicks, and this beautiful Darrell Lee nougat Easter egg. And that was kind of my Easter thing, Easter tradition, if you like, or birthday tradition. And I loved the chickens until I realised that we ate them, but anyway. So, and I used to like collecting the eggs and feeding them and, you know, all that sort of stuff. So every time I've asked for chickens before, because we've got enough room and you're allowed to have them here, David has said no, because he said that they will attract, you know, rats, and rats will attract snakes and, you know, that sort of stuff. And, you know, I do agree, he is right on that. So I was really shocked when he said, you know, do you want to have kittens? Kittens. Oh, yes, I'll have kittens too. Chickens. And so anyway, I looked it up, and we're allowed to have quite a few, like 5 for the size of our property. And then I looked into actually the feeding, the housing, and the smell, and keeping them away from the neighbours, etc., because you've got to be 1.5 metres away from the fence and all the rest of it. And anyway, I decided, I actually turned down the chickens, and I said, no, look, I think, you know, just for the 2 of us, I don't think it's going to be economic. It's probably cheaper just to buy the eggs, because I'd have to give up too much of the yard for the housing and for them to graze, and yeah, and to protect them, and, you know, a lot of cleaning to do and buying straw and material, and yeah, but I think I probably would love to live on a bit of acreage at some stage, because I do enjoy all that, you know, farm animals and things like that. Acreage with bunnies, now that would be good. But I don't really like snakes and creepy crawlies, so I'd have to be away from anything like that. Maybe one day. But so I actually passed on a pet, which for me is just like unbelievable. But they're not really a pet, like they're working chickens making eggs. But usually I would say yes to any animal, but I must be getting sensible and adulting in my old age. But I wouldn't dismiss it entirely, because, you know, maybe one day I'll go, yeah, chicken time. But I don't think now is the right time. Just too much involved. And plus we don't really have that many scraps because David eats everything in sight. I don't think I've got enough for a compost bin, let alone to feed a couple of chickens. So we'll put that one on the back burner. But it was really lovely that he actually suggested it, because he's said no to it that many times. But he said no to the cat too, so got away there. It only took years, 10, to get her, but you know, we got there in the end. Anyway, I'm going to colour a little bit more of this one and then finish up talking to you. But I shall be back later on in the week, and I hope you have a absolutely wonderful day, and that you're doing everything that you can to keep yourself healthy and safe and happy during this time, and that you're relaxing. And if you need anybody to talk to or just to listen, you know, please feel free to message me on Facebook. And if you just need someone to, you know, just to listen during this, you know, time that we're all dealing with things in a different way and we're all coping as best we can. And I shall see you later on in the week. Until next time, happy colouring. Milly, I've woken you up. Alright, do you want to see what Mummy's done? Okay. Alright. Okay, I don't know how I'm going to colour around you. Seriously, I don't. Come on, darling. Come on. Come on. Oh, you're beautiful. Yes, I know, it's your colouring book. Yes, beautiful girl. Alright.